The question of whether animals or pets go to heaven deeply touches the hearts of many people, especially for those who have formed strong emotional bonds with their pets. This question brings forth a desire for comfort after loss and reflects theological debates about the nature of animals and what might happen to them in the afterlife. While the Bible does not provide a direct answer on this matter, it offers principles that help us reflect more broadly. Losing a pet is an intensely painful experience. They are not just companions. They are family members, silent partners who love us unconditionally. When they depart, they leave a void that often feels impossible to fill. We find ourselves lost, wondering, where are they now? Do they miss us? Are they okay? If you want to continue receiving this kind of content, follow our channel. It is in this moment of pain that the spiritual world can offer surprising consolation. Many religious and spiritual traditions share the idea that animals possess a divine essence, a soul, or energy that continues to exist after death. The Bible, for instance, suggests that all creation belongs to God, and that He cares for everything He created. This includes our beloved four-legged companions. One of the central concepts for understanding the relationship between animals and the spiritual realm is the breath of life. In Genesis chapter 1:30, we read that God gave all living beings, including land creatures and birds, the sustenance necessary to live. This verse suggests that animals possess a vitality that in some way resembles that of humans. The breath of life is presented as something that animates all living beings, emphasizing that there is a connection between human and animal life in this vital aspect. Another significant example is found in Genesis 6:17, when God announces the flood, explaining that He will destroy all flesh in which there is the breath of life. Here, the term is used to describe the vital force present in all living beings, reinforcing that animals share this same essence that humans have in their earthly existence. However, the Bible also clearly distinguishes between the creation of humans and animals. In Genesis 2:7, we see that God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, making him a living soul. While both humans and animals receive this breath, the text highlights that humans are created in the image and likeness of God, as mentioned in Genesis 1:26-27. This divine likeness implies a unique spiritual dimension for humanity, including the ability to reason, make moral decisions, and have a direct relationship with God. This distinction does not diminish the value of animals, but points to a difference in the purpose of creation. Humans were created to reflect God's image in a special way, while animals are part of the divine plan in a complementary manner. For those seeking answers about the fate of pets, it is important to remember that the Bible emphasizes God's love and kindness toward creation. He is described as a God who cares for all His creatures, including animals, Psalm 145:9. While the eternal future of animals is not directly addressed, trust in God's love and wisdom can bring comfort to afflicted hearts. Thus, the question of animals in heaven remains a mystery, but we can trust that God's plan, perfect in its essence, encompasses all things in a just and loving way. More than seeking concrete answers, this reflection invites us to recognize the value of every created being and to give thanks for the role animals play in our lives. The relationship between humanity and God, as well as the implications of being created in His image, suggests that humans possess a spiritual and eternal dimension to their existence. This idea finds support in passages like Matthew 10:28, which teaches, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." Here, the soul is presented as an immaterial and eternal part that transcends physical death. While animals share with humans the breath of life described in Genesis, they are not depicted as being made in the image of God. This difference suggests that even if animals have some sort of soul, its nature may be distinct and less enduring compared to the human soul. The Bible does not provide a detailed description of the souls of animals, leaving room for interpretations and speculations. Some scholars believe that animals do not possess souls in the same sense as humans, and, therefore, would not have an existence after death. The relationship between humans and animals transcends cultures and spiritualities. Many spiritual traditions offer comforting interpretations about the destiny of animals after death, including the possibility that they might be angels or spirits of loved ones. Before delving back into biblical reflections, let's explore the most common views in other religions. Abrahamic religions: Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Christianity. The fate of animals in Christianity is not explicitly mentioned in the Bible, but many theological interpretations suggest that as part of God's divine creation, animals may have a place in His eternal plan. The idea of an animal heaven is popular among Christians who believe that God is loving and just enough to include our companions in paradise. Some see animals as divine messengers, or even as forms through which God manifests His presence in our lives, something akin to earthly angels. Judaism. In Judaism, there is little discussion about the afterlife for animals. However, the Torah emphasizes care and respect for all creation, which might suggest that animals have intrinsic value in the divine plan. Islam. The Quran describes animals as conscious beings that glorify God in their own ways. Some Muslim scholars believe that animals will receive justice on the Day of Judgment, but the idea of an animal heaven is less common. Eastern spirituality: Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism. Hinduism. In Hinduism, it is believed that animals have souls and are part of the cycle of reincarnation, samsara. After death, an animal's soul may reincarnate in another form, progressing spiritually until liberation, moksha, is achieved. Our bonds with animals can be seen as a reflection of connections from past lives. Certain deities, such as Ganesha, who has an elephant head, and Hanuman, the monkey god, show that animals have a direct connection with the divine. Buddhism. For Buddhists, animals are part of the cycle of rebirth. The death of an animal is not the end of its existence, but a transition to another form of life based on karma. Compassion for animals is central in Buddhism, as they are seen as sentient beings. Some Buddhist accounts consider animals as manifestations of Dharma, spiritual teaching, in physical form. Taoism. Taoism views animals as expressions of the Tao, the universal flow. After death, they return to the natural cycle of the universe. The bonds between humans and animals are seen as part of cosmic harmony. Indigenous spirituality and shamanism. Many indigenous traditions, such as those of Native American peoples and African tribes, believe that animals possess powerful spirits that continue to exist after death. In shamanism, animals are often seen as spiritual guides or totems. When a pet dies, it is believed that it may continue to act as a protector or guide in the spiritual realm. Some shamans also consider that certain animals may be manifestations of ancestors or familiar spirits who came to care for and teach important lessons. Spiritualism and reincarnation doctrines. Spiritualism and other reincarnation doctrines believe that animals possess a spiritual essence that evolves. Although they do not follow the same evolutionary path as humans, they are seen as spiritual beings in learning. Many mediums report spiritual contacts where animals appear as messengers or companions in the spiritual realm, helping their owners in moments of transition or pain. New Age and metaphysics. In New Age spirituality, Animals are often seen as pure souls connected to higher dimensions. Some beliefs hold that certain animals may be disguised angels sent to help humans on their life journey. They bring messages, heal emotionally, and create deep connections of unconditional love. Other interpretations suggest that animals may be spirits of loved ones reincarnated, especially those with a special bond to us who seem to choose us. The idea that animals are earthly angels is widely accepted in many spiritual traditions and personal accounts. They teach us about love, patience, and kindness, often in critical moments of our lives. Some people believe that specific animals enter their lives to protect or guide them, and their departure happens when their mission is complete. Accounts of dreams and visions after the death of an animal suggest that they may continue to be present spiritually, offering comfort and protection. Returning to the Bible, the idea that humans are endowed with a unique spiritual dimension and an eternal aspect is reinforced by the understanding that we are capable of moral reasoning, relating to God, and experiencing eternal life. On the other hand, animals, though important in God's creation, do not share this same spiritual status. The possibility that their souls are of a different quality, or even that they do not persist after death, aligns with the view that eternal life is a specific gift for those created in God's image. Nevertheless, the importance of animals in God's creation is undeniable. In Genesis 1:25, it is written, "And God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good." This verse highlights the value of animals in the balance and harmony of the natural world, recognizing their relevance in the divine work of creation. The story of Noah's Ark also emphasizes this role, showing how God preserved the animals along with Noah's family during the flood. Genesis 7:2-3 mentions, "Of every clean animal you shall take with you 7 pairs, the male and his mate. And of the animals that are not clean, 2, the male and his mate. Also of the birds of the heavens, 7 pairs, male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth." This divine care illustrates the essential role of animals in preserving life. The vision of a new creation, as described in Revelation 21:1, brings the promise of a new heaven and a new earth where everything will be renewed. "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea." This scenario raises the question of whether animals, including those most dear to us, will be part of this restored world. Prophetic passages like Isaiah 11:6 and 65:25 offer a vision of future harmony among living beings, suggesting that animals may play an important role in this new context. Finally, although the Bible does not provide definitive answers about the souls of animals, it makes clear that all creation has value and purpose in God's eyes. The importance of animals in human history and the biblical narrative points to the Creator's loving care for all His creatures. The Bible presents a fascinating vision of the future, where perfect harmony among all creatures is highlighted. One of the most famous texts describes a scene in which the wolf will live alongside the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, and the lion will be at peace with the calf, all led by a child. This symbolic image points to a time of complete peace and renewal, suggesting that animals will have a role in the restored creation, both in the millennial kingdom and the promised new earth. However, what happens to animals after death is a topic that raises many questions and reflections. The Bible does not give a direct answer about the eternal destiny of creatures, but offers principles that help us understand God's love and justice. Many theologians have differing opinions on the subject. For instance, John Wesley believed that animals do not have immortal souls, while C.S. Lewis hypothesized that they could, in some way, share eternity. This issue also has a strong emotional and pastoral aspect. Many people find comfort in believing that their pets might be with them in eternal life. This belief can be especially comforting for those grieving the loss of a beloved animal companion. Although the Bible does not specifically address the fate of animals, it reveals God's character as just, kind, and loving. These divine attributes allow us to trust that He cares for all creation with love and purpose. The hope that God's plan for the universe is complete and perfect brings peace to many people, even when the answer to this question remains a mystery. Reflecting on this, it is helpful to remember that the emotional bonds we form with our pets are deep and meaningful. The idea that they might be part of God's eternal plan can offer hope and comfort. Even though the Bible does not directly address the topic, the principles of love and care it teaches help us approach this question in a thoughtful and faith-filled way. The question of the fate of our beloved creatures reflects, at its core, a desire to better understand God's love and find comfort in the face of loss. Even without definitive answers, we can trust that the Creator, in His goodness and justice, cares for all His creation perfectly. Thus, we are encouraged to live with hope, believing that the divine plan is far greater and more beautiful than we can imagine. The idea that animals might be earthly angels or spiritual messengers transcends cultural and religious boundaries, touching the hearts of millions of people. Whether seen as spiritual guides in shamanism, as manifestations of compassion in Buddhism, or as companions sent by God in popular Christianity, animals hold a special place in our journey. Their purity, loyalty, and capacity to love without judgment make them natural sources of learning and comfort in moments of pain and doubt. In the end, the way we perceive the spiritual role of animals is deeply personal. They may be seen as silent teachers, protective energies, or even as reflections of divine love in our lives. One thing is certain: the bonds we form with them leave eternal marks on our souls. What about you? Do you believe animals might have a spiritual mission in our lives? Have you ever had experiences where you felt an animal was more than just a companion? Share your perspective and story. Let's reflect together on this special bond.